Original post, May 28, 2024. So 19 male, am in a nursing program. We do a lot of physical exams on each other to practice, which involves wearing shorts and tanks. It's important to mention I am permanently blind in one eye. I'm constantly running into walls, doors, railings, plants, people, animals, everything. As you can guess, I'm covered in bruises 90% of the time, on my blind side. In the course one day we were talking about signs of abuse and the teacher said constant bruising. I raised my hand and added that it's important to talk to the patient if they're an adult, before calling the police, as it could be something else. She asked for an example, so I rolled up my sleeve and explained that the bruises were from door handles of the school which were varying colors and heights. She nodded and agreed. She said with children we call the second we suspect abuse, with adults we attempt to talk to them first, and if their reason seems valid, we don't call. The lessons continued, and a week later the cops showed up to my door. They told me they got a report that I was being physically abused and I was always covered in bruises. I told them about my disability. They checked my home, talked to my family, saw no further signs, and I asked questions next. They got my address from the university because they take abuse seriously here, and when they talked to the university about me, the university was very concerned and just wanted to help me. After the police left, I talked to some people at the university, including a psychologist, just so they could be sure I had no mental signs of abuse. Then life went on. Well, I was still coming in the bruises every day, and one of my classmates came up to me. She told me our classmate Kay was telling people she was thinking about calling the police again because I'm still covered in bruises. I got my classmate's report written down, alongside a few others, and waited. Sure enough, police showed up again. Same song and dance, but this time I told the university that Kay was using the police to harass me and I wanted something done about it. The university decided the best course of action was to move her from my labs to the other ones so she couldn't see whether I was bruised or not. She's now told me I'm an asshole and that she was just trying to help me, and I didn't need to mess up her whole university schedule. So Reddit, am I the asshole? Relevant comments. Comment 1. She really didn't learn the lesson the class was taught, did she? A lesson she needs to understand if she is going to work in this job. If she'd done what the teacher taught, talked to the adult, then none of this would have happened. She brought this on herself. OP, some of my classmates told me they tried to talk her out of it, because what abuse victim shows off their bruises to a classroom filled with nursing students and 2 registered nurses? Which is fair, but I didn't know if I went too far getting her moved from my labs. Comment 2, you did what you had to do, it's not your fault. OP, thanks. I have a tendency to worry if I'm doing the right thing or not. I tend to be a doormat, working on it with the help of my professors though. Comment 3, if you are blind in one eye, the school should have that on record to minimize stuff like this. Then with your permission the school could tell your teachers about it. That calls for some kind of accommodation for you. OP, school and teachers are aware. There were changes made. The problem is my school is under a lot of construction, meaning detours and changes in my path I'm not used to. It's specifically my blind side. If I know an area well I don't run into things, but my university is doing constant construction leading to constant changes, leading to hitting things. Think moving an end table 2 inches over, now everyone's stubbing their toe. It's just twice as likely I'm going to run into things. It has not and would not affect my nursing, as this is a condition the school's aware of and said would not be an issue. Comment 4, oh okay, so why not ask for a student guide? It might help you. OP, because someone walking with me doesn't necessarily prevent problems, and can actually increase issues. If they walked on my good side they are useless. If they walk on my bad side too long it increases the likelihood of tripping over them if I am not actively touching them. Comment 5, genuine question. How do you get bruised almost every day? Do you have low sight in your other eye as well? Do you wear eyeglasses? I'm blind in one eye as well. I'm short-sighted, but I rarely get bruised running into things. I usually sprain my ankle due to not noticing unlevel ground or hit my toe on the wall corners due to blind spots once or twice a year, but the peripheral vision and the angle at which I turn my head to keep my eye at center is more than enough to not bump into things so frequently. OP, I'm nearsighted in the other eye. Stuff on my left side is just impossible to see. Glasses get in the way of some of my peripheral vision. Keeping my head turned too long causes stiffness in my neck and I have to be able to turn my head fast and quick. As I said, while I get bruised a lot, it doesn't interfere with my job. It's something I've grown up with, and I bruise easily. I don't bump into anything at home, but in the outside world I do. Comment 6, I ask this as a nurse, and I mean no disrespect, but are you sure that nursing is the best field for you given that impairment? OP, yes, I love helping people, and I'm fully capable of the job. I'm the only one who ever gets injured in my daily life, and it's typically because I'm not paying enough attention to my surroundings and don't notice something new and trip on it. Comment 7, not the asshole. I have a friend who is blind in both eyes and never runs into anything. He travels all over the world alone. Have you looked into services that can help you learn tools so you stop injuring yourself? OP, part of my issue is that my mother denied I was blind for most of my life. It's only recently I've tried to learn to handle it. I'm working on it, but it takes effort and time, and I am getting supports, as I said the school knows. Comment 8, it's still strange that you have so many bruises just because you are blind in one eye. A lot of completely blind people run around with no bruises at all. You should go to a doctor and have it checked. Some people who bruise easily have an underlying disease. OP, I had it checked when I was a child. My optic nerve is too small, severely impacting my depth perception. My doctor is aware, and tells me to not run, to avoid going downstairs too close together, or running up or down them. Comment 9, whoa, there sure are a whole lot of people trying to gatekeep the nursing industry and make sure there are no nurses with vision problems. Don't give them much thought, though. That's insane. They think something is impossible just because they can't imagine a world different from their own perspective. OP, thanks. There's someone in the comments absolutely questioning the regulations of my hospital at this point because my hospital requires 2 people to physically move a patient requiring help, which is the only task my eye gets mildly in the way of, and he just won't believe I'll never move a patient on my own. Update 1, June 20, 2024, 3 weeks later. Okay, so, TLDR, I'm blind in one eye. I run into random stuff if I'm not paying enough attention. I'm covered in various bruises. Showed this during class while talking about abuse and how we have to talk to adults before calling. This girl decided to call the cops on me twice claiming I'm abused, resulting in me being forced to go to counseling, talk to therapists, police, etc. until everyone was assured I wasn't abused. So anyways, it's been a bit since that post and I have big updates on her. I called her Kay in the other story, so let's stick with that. So anyways, I had previously gotten her removed from my labs. We still shared class not lab. I figured everything was fine now and she'd leave me alone, but I was wrong. Not only was she spreading rumors that I was abused, but she called the cops again, apparently more than once, as the other 2 times the cops said they had a report of abuse. This time they said reports. When I asked how many reports, they said that it was multiple people, so I don't know if others in class called or she had her family do so. I just don't know. They couldn't tell me who called due to privacy when it comes to reporting, to try and make sure abusers don't attack the reporters. Apparently, my university had attempted to stop them when the cops spoke to them, but the cops had to check anyways, so they came after talking to the university anyways, and again we did the same song and dance. I told them I felt like someone was using the cops to harass me, and the cops took this. They said no one would show up again, and anyone that calls would now have their name taken down, and if they call after being told not to, they'd be charged with harassment. Well, that was about a week ago, and someone continued calling, tried to claim a different name. Didn't realize they record phone numbers as well, so there's your update on Kay. She called again, and again, and again, until it got her charged with harassment as well as misuse of police resources. Not certain what's going to happen going forward or if I'll be called to testify. I'm not certain what's happening, but I haven't seen her since I was informed that she's still called, which I found out from another classmate. I don't know how great an update this is, but yeah, that's the end of this situation hopefully. Relevant comments. Comment 1, what's the school doing about this? Is she getting expelled for harassing you? OP, seeing as she's probably ending up with a criminal charge, she will be expelled. Comment 2, wow, Kay has a huge problem. She's unstable for sure and has no business becoming a nurse. I hope the university reevaluates her attendance at that school. Any idea why she decided to target you? Totally not the asshole on your part. OP, I have no idea why she targeted me or for what reasons. I barely talked to her before the incidents, and definitely don't now. Story 2, am I the asshole for taking my kids to go meet my husband's abusive father even after he prohibited me from doing so? Original post, January 26, 2024. I, 42 female, and my husband Daryl, 42 male, have 3 kids, 18 male, 13 female, and 9 female. We have been together since we were 15 and married since we were 18. I have never really had any contact with his father. He has always been distant with him and has made sure to keep me away as well. So, I do not know much about his father personally, other than the few things he has brought up only 1 or 2 times. He has mentioned that he hates his father and that he was an abusive asshole and that he would abuse him and his sister every day. His mother took her own life when he was 13 and has been in therapy since. So his relationship with his father is practically non-existent. All he has as a real family is his younger sister. My contact with his father had only been before we got married. Daryl has always tried to keep me as far away from him as possible. I've only interacted with him when I first met his family, and when he graduated high school. When we got married at 18 he cut all contact with his father and prohibited me and our kids from ever contacting him or inviting him to anything. That included our weddings, kids' special days, and so on. They have never met their grandpa and it has always bothered them. They have all met my sister-in-law, and love her as family. They frequently ask for her and are very close. She has been to every main event and family gathering. I am not very close to her but have maintained a good relationship. I asked her about her parents and how it was growing up and she tried to evade the question and even started to get nervous. She refused to answer my question and changed the subject. Daryl never really told me much about it either and has reacted the same way when our kids have asked him about his family. On Thanksgiving, we had a family dinner. My whole family attended. Of course, my sister-in-law attended. Everyone got wasted and had a good time. That was until my youngest asked her if Grandpa was going to attend this year. My other kids jumped on the bandwagon and bombarded her with questions about him, and why he was never here. She got overwhelmed and stormed out. My husband scolded them and went to make sure her sister was okay. When we got home, he told them to never bring him up again, to erase even the thought that Grandpa does not exist. This seemed to have lit a fire under all of them because to them it seemed like a mystery, a hidden character who they were dying to meet. Since then they have hounded me about it. Mom, I want to meet Grandpa. Mom, why isn't Grandpa around when yours is? Why don't you invite Grandpa over? All I could tell them was that Dad did not get along with Grandpa and that Grandpa was mean to him. It did not seem to shake their resolve to meet him. I have brought it up to my husband. That his kids want to meet their grandpa. Maybe they should get to meet their grandpa at least once. They deserve it. He did not like the idea and told me to never bring up this subject again. He told me that they would never meet that man. He did not care about how much our kids wanted to meet him. He again prohibited me from ever contacting his father, let alone letting his kids meet him. My kids continued to hound me and begged me to visit Grandpa. I felt bad for them and thought that maybe just once they should meet him. They deserved at least one visit. I convinced myself that it was okay and eventually agreed to it. I told them that this would be our little secret and to not tell their father. Their faces lit up and throughout the week they would ask if I was taking them today or tomorrow. So, I took them to see their grandpa this weekend. I told my husband that we would be going to the mall and that we would be back late. When we got back home my husband greeted us and had ordered takeout. His sister was there as well, already chowing down. My husband and I went to the kitchen to get something to drink while his sister talked to my kids. I overheard her ask them how their day was and if they did. My youngest excitedly responded, "We got to meet and have ice cream with Grandpa." My husband dropped his cup and it shattered on the floor. I told him that I could explain but he did not give me the chance to and told me not to say a word. That he will be going for a drive to think and that he will be back. I pleaded with him to hear me out, but he left. His sister was angry as well and followed, but before leaving she asked me why on God's green earth would I take them to him. Now my kids are asking what happened and I'm not sure what to say. So am I the asshole for taking my kids to go meet my husband's abusive father? Relevant comments. Comment 1. What is wrong with you? You're the asshole. How dare you? Your husband suffered abuse at the hands of this man on a daily basis and you knew that but decided to walk your children into the hands of a known abuser anyway, no regard for him at all. I cannot even imagine what he is going through mentally right now. I feel horrible for him. It's like being abused all over again. Update 1, January 30th, 2024. Hello everyone, sorry for not responding and for not updating sooner. Life has gotten pretty hectic since I last posted. I want to start by admitting that I have always wanted to meet my husband's father and that I have brought up Grandpa to my kids more than a few times. I did not want to admit it because I knew my husband's story and did not want to make it seem like I didn't care about how he or his sister felt. I felt it unfair that I was being kept away from his father and I know that it sounds awful, but I have always wanted to have some kind of relationship with his father. After all, he is still family. I just did not want to admit that I was wrong for feeling that way. I did use my kids as an excuse and use them to justify my feelings and actions. They did want to meet their grandpa and were always curious about him, so I went and took advantage of it. My family does know the situation as they noticed that my husband was not staying at home. I have gotten cussed at and shunned for my decision. I am doing what I can to rebuild my relationship with my husband. He accepted my apology but told me that he would still be staying with his sister until he felt ready to come back home, until he got over my betrayal of his trust. I've read your comments and you guys are right. My kids do deserve to know the whole truth about their grandpa and why he never wanted or allowed him to be around. So I sat them all down, yes, even my youngest, and explained to them. I told them that they did nothing wrong and that I was the one to blame for everything. I shouldn't have pushed my cruel ambition onto them. I explained the reason Dad wasn't staying at home for the past few days. I believe it can be fixed. I am not going to give up despite what you all say. My husband will come back and we will be a family again. I will update whenever I can and answer any comments whenever I have the chance to. Relevant comments. Comment 1. The lengths that people such as yourself go to excuse their own bad decisions, especially when the consequences turn around and bite them hard, is amazing to watch. If your husband was here, I'd happily advise him to never trust a single word you ever say ever again. You as a person simply can't ever be trusted. What an insanely horrible person you are. Oh, and yes, as everyone in your earlier post said, you're the asshole. In every meaning of the word. May your upcoming divorce be quick and amicable. How in the world do you justify, or think it's a good idea, to take your kids to someone who abused your husband for years? Like, it's not like they had a fight and no longer talk. He was abused for years and no one in the family wants to talk about him, and that didn't mean anything to you? Also, why did you think you could keep something like that a secret? It's not something that the kids are just going to forget about. Anyway, I wish OP's husband good luck in his divorce. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.